All right, we want to start off with a fact that maybe a lot of people don't know. The FBI is actually the lead federal agency when it comes to cybersecurity and cyber attacks. Right now, today, what's the current state of cybersecurity and, of course, cyber threats for small business owners?
Well, I think small, medium-sized businesses, SMBs, are so diverse in the service offering. It's almost very difficult to have a one-size-fits-all cyber solution. The large businesses continue to invest in their cybersecurity to enhance their cybersecurity posture. So what the cyber criminals are doing, they're pivoting, they're evolving, and targeting the softer target, which are the SMBs. So as one of the things that the FBI is doing, we're collecting information, we're taking complaints. According to the FBI's IC3, last year we had $6.9 billion losses and almost 847,000 victims. And unfortunately, the majority of those victims were small businesses. So it is a big threat against the small to medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, it really sounds like it. So back in October, the White House actually held a cybersecurity summit. And during that summit, they announced that there's a shortfall of about 750,000, almost 250,000 cybersecurity professionals here in the United States. Obviously, these skills are in high demand and becoming increasingly expensive because of that shortage. What can small business and medium business size owners do today on their own to improve their cybersecurity?
Sure, absolutely. So that's a great question. So, we often overlook the easiest steps, the basic cyber hygiene. So I want to kind of talk about some of the more actionable stuff that we could do today, almost implemented without very minimal cost. And in fact, some of these steps that I'm talking about could have prevented some of the major cyber breaches that we've seen in the last couple of years. So we want to make this like an automatic habit, like wearing a seatbelt, right? So I'll kind of talk about a couple things. First one is the passwords. So unfortunately, for the time being, the passwords are still going to be technologies that we still have to navigate around. So from the first part is what I call multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, right? So those are things that something you know and something you have. Something you know is your password, and something you have might be your phone, a third-party authenticator. It might, akin to, chip and pin type method.
Agent Sohn, let me just spell this out for the audience. This is basically like when you log onto a site, and before they let you all the way into the site, they send you a code to your cell phone, a text you normally, or they can give you a call, and then you have to put that code in or hit a button on the call, correct?
That is correct, right? So those are available almost on every financial institutions, email, social media networks. So they all have it, but you have to manually turn that on in a lot of these services. So those are one of the primary recommendations that we advise to our businesses from a lot of the businesses. So the other one is not reusing the same passwords. That sounds very simple, and a lot of people will disregard that as why does it matter if I use the same password? What we're seeing across the board is if you use the same password for your email, for example, and that is compromised, available to the cyber criminals, they might take that same exact username and password and maybe compromise your payroll, maybe compromise your financial institution's account. So what we advise our folks is, do not use the same password, especially to your critical systems that deals with money, that transfers money to your vendors or your customers or your clients. And again, these passwords are not, silver bullet, but they're one of many layers, including using a good, reputable password managers to kind of manage that. The other one that we talk about all the time is regularly backing up your critical information, right? So what is your backing up your crown jewels? What is that? What is that to keep your business afloat? Define what that is and kind of secure that first and kind of work your way around it.
So great steps there. You're getting a little bit into the weeds, but I really think that's what our audience needs. You mentioned multi-factor authentication. So can you tell us some other things that business owners in the cybersecurity space should be aware of? There's other things like zero trust architecture. I know the federal government's been very bullish on, and the White House even mentioned as one step. Are there some other terms? That way, when some of these business owners go to seek out cybersecurity protection, they're familiar with it already.
Yeah, absolutely. I think zero trust is, a lot of the large organizations starting to go that way. But I think for the audience of a small to medium-sized business, still that might be a little bit far away. But another easy step that we always recommend are updating your systems. That sounds, this is one of the most overlooked steps that we talk about when we talk to cybersecurity is a lot of these times these update to your systems are actually patching holes and vulnerabilities in your corporate networks or in your business network on your desktops, your laptops, or your tablets. Those are one of our critical steps that we ask our users to do. And then using a reputable antivirus and a firewall system on your network. So those are kind of like the steps that we recommend that you could implement almost today with almost zero cost to the business.
Yeah, so right now we've been focusing on things that outside actors might do to actually forcibly hack into your system. But generally, most cybersecurity hacks and breaches come from an internal error, correct?
Yeah, I think the internal errors, there might be misconfiguration or leaving your password out. Sometimes your unintentional insider the threat. So we do see that, but we have again, that's the start of the cyber attack. But the cyber criminals are still exploiting the inside and the outside and targeting the big business from that angle.
Well, let's talk about one of the worst case scenarios, a ransomware attack. It's something that the White House and also the FBI has put out a number of advisories about. Currently, right now, what are the best tactics for a business if they suffer a ransomware attack? Obviously, sometimes hackers threaten to take away all your data if you're not willing to pay. So as an FBI agent, what would you suggest a small business or a medium-sized business owner do in that situation?
I think the first thing is to prevent the ransomware attack. Because once a ransomware attack occurs and your data has been encrypted and is being extorted, the available steps after that is very difficult. So the first thing is to ensure your data is encrypted, backed up offline, so you could access it even if the criminals steal it and take it away from you. But at least you could maintain your business, bring your business back online. And we see this time and time and again, where a lot of businesses do not back up their critical system, your crown jewels, and that kind of leads to the businesses forced to pay the ransom to the cyber criminals, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a scary situation for our entire audience. The thought of having all your data taken away. I know a lot of companies obviously are moving their business to a more digital place just to try to find efficiencies and also save money. So before we wrap up, in general, we know there's bad actors out there. We know there's some human error. In between all that, if you're a business owner, are there certain things that you need to do as far as hardware, as a server, a laptop? Are there things that when you're buying or going out searching for some of your tech tools that you should really keep in mind?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is use reputable services, reputable laptops, hardware, reputable email, reputable services that has been tested and that's been in the industry for a while. I think that's the best way, in ensuring that your systems are updated and patched up and using good password manager and keeping good cyber hygiene is key for small to medium-sized businesses.
So those are the do's. What are the don'ts?
Never blindly trust email or communication when they ask for money. This is something that we see time and time and again where the cyber criminals are reading your emails and they're asking you to transfer money, whether it's from your colleagues or your clients or your vendors, and something is not quite right. But because of the sense of urgency on the email, they do it, not knowing that the wire was money to somewhere else, to a fraudulent bank account, only to find out a week later or 2 weeks later that the money went to a fraudulent bank account. So if there is something suspicious, always follow up with an in-person meeting, a call or a video call to make sure that the money is going where it's supposed to be, and follow your business process on doing financial transactions. Well,
Special Agent Sohn, I know a lot of, at the beginning I said a lot of people aren't aware that the FBI is the lead agency when it comes to cybersecurity and cyber threats. Is there a website or somewhere that just business owners can go just to kind of get a sense of the resources and get some more information about some of these tips you were kind enough to share with us today?
Absolutely. The website you want to go to is our Internet Crime Complaint Center. It's at ic3.gov. Again, that's ic3.gov. You could file a complaint there. You could look at some of the tips, some of the trends that's available to the public for combating cybercrime.
All right, so one last word as we go into 2023. What are you expecting when it comes to cybersecurity? Of course, with the Russia-Ukraine war, there were a lot of fears about cyber attacks coming to the Western world, whether it be institutions or financial institutions or government. But for small business owners, just if you have to paint the environment and the picture overall for cybersecurity threats in 2023, what would you say?
I think for the small and medium-sized business, again, is following the good cyber hygiene. You got to stay vigilant. Some of the, again, a lot of the cyber attacks that we have witnessed from our investigations, almost all of them could have prevented by doing very good basic cyber hygienes. Again, the password managers to good cyber two-factor authentication, good backups. It is some of your one of the best advice that I could give to the small and medium-sized businesses.